Yeah. Then I would have done two
All right,
rolls.
so the first step in making this is to take an 8.5 by 11 piece of printer paper, essentially, and fold it in half. Then once you have that, you have two halves. You're gonna fold those halves in half. And then you're going to take those halves, or quarters, and fold each one of those in half. So that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sections. You can see that, yeah. Then you're going to take a straight edge, and from the top left corner of the paper, you're going to connect this corner to the bottom right corner of the second column, so that you'll have a line that stretches 2 columns diagonally using a pin. And you're going to press fairly firm so that it creates an indentation, also known as a score. There you go. Then you're going to take the opposite corner and span that to the top of the right column, doing the same thing, scoring and marking at the same time with the pen and the straight edge, so that you have an X that spans 2 columns, and then this straight line will remain by itself, and we'll start our next column from the top here, going down to the bottom over there, and then the other part of the X coming up from here and going up to this corner there. And we will repeat that until each set of columns has an X in the corner. in my final project, I plan to wear a more professional shirt. Probably not a bodybuilding shirt. And if you mess up a line, that's okay. Just remember which line is right. And make sure you use the right line when you go to fold it. So your paper should look something like this, with X's all the way across in each column. Now, your X's, your black lines from your pen want to make your outward facing crest folds. So you fold along the black lines in a crest shape, like so. And the line that splits that mark down the middle, you want it to go inward, which it already is in this case, but in case it wasn't, you want to fold it the opposite way. And then you just keep doing that until you fold all of the X marks outwardly in a crest shape. This is where the scoring of the pen really comes into play, because having that deep score line makes it easier to fold all these lines together. Now the lines in between the X's, this line and this line, this line, all of those indentions want to be actually a crest shape outward. So just because of how I folded in the beginning, this line right here isn't, so I'm just going to fold that to where it's a crest instead of a valley. And while I'm at it, I'll just go ahead and do that for each. Make sure it stands out. All right, now it kind of has a natural shape to it. In an effort to make this a whole piece, I'm going to take these two pieces right here where they come together, and I'm going to tape those two pieces together with some Scotch tape. And I'm going to make this Scotch tape the length of this paper. And I'm going to just put it on the outside of the shape because you really can't see it once you tape it all together. It actually works out very nicely. And I'm going to just overlap it by half so that it covers half the paper. And then I'll take the other half of the paper and line it up so that the edges of the paper meet at the bottom and the top, and also that the edge of the paper meets in the center. And then I have enough room to stick my hand inside here and help reinforce it as I press it along the center. And that helps give it a really nice contact. And this shape right here where the tape is at needs to have a crest shape to form the corner. So I'll just fold that like that, and the tape actually forms quite nicely. So now I basically have this shape. In the website, on the website, it kind of forms a a star shape like this. And I pretty much squeeze these pieces together without compromising the fold shape, so that it kind of gave me a little star or X. And as I squeeze these together on both ends, it just sort of helped form this shape to be a little tighter as I squeezed it together. As you can see, it's a lot tighter than it was when I first taped it together. So after I do that, then I'm going to take some spare cardboard and just trace the bottom outline, lining up the corners with the corner of the cardboard and the edges of the cardboard so that I maximize the space of the cardboard being used. I'm going to take my pen and I'm just going to trace the outline of the bottom of this shape. It moves a little bit, but you can just realign it. That's fine. I'm not perfect at drawing this out, but it doesn't have to be perfect, because then you can trim it to suit after you get the main shape cut out. Alright, so basically I have a little star shape, which is the shape of the bottom. I'm going to use some scissors. And starting on the edge, just cut this star shape out. I just kind of like to cut a little box shape out of it. That way I can just, it's easier to work with when you have a little less material that you're fighting against. Alright, so I'm left with a little star piece that should fit pretty close to the shape of the paper. And I'm just going to trial and error fit this into this shape just to see what it looks like. But this is basically going to help it keep its shape. That looks pretty good. And mainly I just want the edges to fit. But I also want that good surface area in the middle right there, so that when I glue my magnets on, they have a pretty decent surface area to sit on. And I'm not worried about the star taking up the entire shape. As you can see, there's like a little hollowness to it. It doesn't take up the shape perfectly, which is fine because it's for a light. It's a lamp. So the fact that the light will shine through the bottom is perfectly fine. But what I'm going to do now is take some super glue, and I'm only going to glue the edges where it touches the paper. But first, I'm going to set it so that the star shape sits a little more than halfway up into the piece, which it's kind of hard to see exactly where that is, and it's kind of hard to keep it there. because again, it's not perfect, but that's where the glue comes into play. I'm gonna try to get this on camera, sorry. I'm gonna just try that over. And it keeps wanting to slide through, which happens at times. All right, so I've got my shape. You can see it's about a little bit more than halfway from the top. It's pretty much going to piss me off because it keeps falling out, but that's okay. We're just going to keep on working through it. Because it's not glued yet. This is why we got to glue it. All right, so I'm just going to use my hand to support it for now because it keeps falling. But you can see that's about where I want it. And I'm going to just take some glue. Gravity helps immensely when trying to glue these corners into place. Trying not to get my face in this video. That's not working either. Again, after I do this step, it's gonna have to sit overnight anyways. But this is one of the trickiest steps because glue is just hard to work with in general. Yeah. I'll put that on in a minute. All right. So my corners are set. I have a little bit of glue. I want to make sure that the shape of my lamp is still the way I intended it to be, which it is. So yeah, I'm just gonna let this sit overnight and let the glue dry. Actually upside down like that. That way the weight of the glue is on, or the weight of the cardboard is on the glue, because I want the glue to be on the bottom. That way when I put the magnets on top, the glue will be stationary.